Spend a few minutes with me and I'm going to make you a pro at reading dial calipers. We're going to talk about the 4 types of measurements you can take with these and why they're the Swiss Army knife of the machining world. Hi, I'm John, the owner of Leeman Geophysical. One of the most common problems that we have when somebody contacts us and wants a custom part is we need to know how big that part needs to be very accurately. Tape measures just don't cut it when you're doing precision mechanical parts. So if you need to take a measurement like that, you can use a caliper. Now there are more accurate instruments like micrometers, but often if you just need to be within 1/1000th or 2 of an inch, the caliper is just fine. Sometimes we call them the machinist approximator. So you can get a set of calipers for between $50 and $80. Now this top caliper here is an analog or a dial caliper. It's got a clock face on it and it's got markings along the stem. This is my preferred type of caliper for almost everything, and you'll see why when we're going through some of the examples later in the video. You can also get a digital caliper that we can just read directly off the screen. It's really a matter of preference. Both of these have the same accuracy, they'll both give you the same result, and they both need the same amount of operator skill. So it's really just what you prefer to do. Now there are a couple of things that you can do with the digital caliper that you can't do with the analog, but the inverse is true as well. So you'd really just have to pick what you want or get a set of each. Now, I already hear you screaming in the comments, why are you using inches in the imperial measurement system? Well, I'm in the US and that's what we use here. You can get a caliper that's graduated in a metric measurement, and that's actually one of the advantages of a digital caliper is you can just switch back and forth at the press of a button. So it's really up to you. I've even seen sets of calipers that have 2 hands on the dial, one for each system of measurement, though they've been pretty expensive. Okay, so before we get too deep into this, I want to look at the anatomy of the caliper a little bit. So we're going to look at the dial caliper. It's the same with the digital, except it has fewer markings on the stem generally. So we've got our jaws here. We've got a set of outside jaws and a set of inside jaws. We'll talk about those more in a little bit. We've got a lock screw for the face of the dial, and we've got a lock screw for the caliper slide. And then we've got a thumb wheel that lets us move the caliper easily. And when we move that, we see this tail comes out over here on the back side of the caliper. Now first, let's look at some of these marked graduations on the caliper. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. There we go. These big numbers, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are inches. So those are the 1 spot in our measurement. The smaller numbers here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that repeat in between each inch are the tenths of inches. Okay, so I'll put a 2 there. And then we have to read the dial. Now if you notice, the dial goes from 0 to 100. There are 100 thousandths in between each of those tenths of an inch. So we've got the hundredths place and the thousandths place.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage.
Now, if you continue reading, you get to the tenths of a thousandth place. You're never going to get to the tenth of a thousandth place with a dial caliper or a digital caliper. They're just not designed for that level of resolution. If you need a measurement like that, you need to use a micrometer or a different tool. Confusingly though, sometimes we still call this tenths. Now we don't mean tenths of an inch, we mean tenths of a thousandth. So if you hear somebody say that they're oversized by 8/10ths, that probably means 8/10ths of a thousandth of an inch, probably not 0.8 inches. Okay, so this would be said as 1 inch, 234 thousandths. If we wanted to set our caliper to that reading, first we would line up the 1, and we're reading 0 on the dial, so that's exactly 1 inch. Now I'm going to go until I can see the mark to the right of the 2. So I've got 1.200 inches right now. And then I read the dial. So I'm going to move it right there. So now I am reading 1 inch, 2/10ths of an inch, 34 hundredths, 1.234 inches. That's really all there is to reading a dial caliper. It just takes a little bit of practice and you'll have it down in no time. Of course, if you have a digital caliper, well, you don't really need to practice. You just read the numbers off the screen. But you can see that you can do math on the face of this without having to really think about it. For example, if I take this measurement and I know that I want to be at, let's say, 1.220 inches, I just can count the number of graduations there and know how many thousandths I need to remove from the part. So I like doing this because I can visually get a good idea just by a glance of how many thousandths I need to take off instead of having to do the math in my head. Okay, so that's really the basic mechanics. Let's actually take some measurements now. There are 4 types that you can take, and we're going to start with the most common, which is the outside diameter or outside measurement. Before you take a measurement with your calipers, you should make sure that the jaws are clean and that the part that you're going to measure is clean. You can do that, of course, with a microfiber cloth or just making sure it's wiped off. I'm going to close the caliper, and with digital you need to do this as well, and make sure that it reads 0. If it does not, you're going to loosen that dial lock screw and turn it until it does read 0 and lock the dial back down. On a digital set, you just press the 0 button. Now I can open my caliper up using that thumb wheel and take my measurement. I put the part in the jaws and apply gentle pressure to the thumb wheel. Now if I really reef on the thumb wheel, you see that I can get that needle to move 1/1000 of an inch or so. And that's because I'm flexing the frame of the caliper. And you don't want to do that. So it takes a little bit of practice, or you can also squeeze the jaws instead of applying pressure here. And that really gives you no flex to the frame other than maybe a little bit in the jaw. So I'm gonna hold it like that. You can see what the reading is there. It is 2. We don't have anything after it. 0.000. This is exactly 2 inches to within 1/1000th of an inch, which makes sense because this is what's called a 1-2-3 block. It's an inch thick, 2 inches wide, 3 inches long. This is something that we commonly use in machining setups, and it's precision ground to be exactly those dimensions. So it makes a great practice piece. You can also practice on gauge blocks, gauge pins, or anything else with a known, well-controlled diameter. We can do this on round objects too. So I can take this part, I can put it in the jaws, and in this case, what reading am I getting? Well, we're not quite exposing the 2 fully. So this is 1.995 inches. So the outer diameter of this part is 5/1000ths below 2 inches, or 1.995. Now you may have noticed when I did this that I put the part way up in here. These outer tips of the jaws are very thin and they're meant for getting down into grooves. If your part has a groove on it, let's say, let's move this out of the way. If your part has a groove, you can get those down into that groove to take a measurement. But they're a little bit more delicate and they're a little bit more flexible. So if it's at all possible, you want to make sure to use as much of this jaw as you can. Or I like to even just use the bigger part up here when I'm taking an outer diameter like this. One thing you do have to watch out for though, if I close the calipers, you see there's a gap right here. You don't want to put a part in the gap. If you have a small part that could fit up there, you see you're going to get a reading that's off. We should be reading in this case 0.3 inches, and now we're reading just a little over 50 thou under. So you want to make sure that you're in the flat part of the jaw and that you're utilizing as much of the jaw as possible. So this would be a much better way to measure this part. It helps average out any imperfections over this and any imperfections with your caliper, as well as reducing flex. So that's the outer dimension measurement, and that's probably what you're going to do with your calipers 99% of the time. If you want, when you have a reading on something and you have a hard time seeing the caliper because of the position it's in, you can lock it with this top screw. And now when you pull it off, the caliper is locked and you've got that reading locked in there. So for a little bit more practice, what is the reading of this outer diameter? It's 0.6 because we're not all the way to 780. 0.680 or 680 thou. Okay, let's go on to the second type of measurement that you can do with your caliper, and probably the second most common, which is the inner diameter. For the inner diameter, you're going to use these little inverted jaws up here at the top of your caliper. To do this, I'm going to take the part with the hole I want to measure, stick the jaws in, very gently rock, and make sure that I get a good contact. I probably do this 2 or 3 times and take an average if I really want to know, because this is a little bit more finicky of a measurement. So in this case, I'm getting a reading of 1.123 inches. With the inner jaws, they can't reach very deep, so you've got to be careful, and they're very thin, so it's easy to flex them or damage them. Probably one of the most common things that I see are these tips getting bent over from the caliper getting dropped or whacked, and when that happens, well, it generally ruins the inner diameter measurement. You need to get a different set of calipers. So be very careful with these. Okay, so the inner diameter measurement is really not that much different than outer. You're just using this other set of jaws. But the last 2 types of measurements are ones that you probably see a lot less commonly. The third type is the step measurement. If you flip your caliper over and look at the back, you actually see that there's a flat surface here and a flat surface here. These are ground flat and meant to be used to measure steps in parts. So you can see this part has a step. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my caliper up. I'm going to put it into the bottom of my step, and then I'm going to turn it down until I just make contact with the top of the part. And now I can take my reading. And in this case, I'm reading what? 0.137 inches. And you might want to do this a couple times. Maybe you got a piece of dirt in there, but we should get a pretty consistent result. There is a little bit of feel with this because you don't want to press too hard and pull up off the bottom of the part. And that time I got 0.137 inches, maybe a little bit of change there, maybe a little closer to 8. Within a thousandth, plenty good for calipers. That's how you take a step measurement with the caliper. The last measurement is related, and it's a depth measurement. And for that, we're going to use the tail of the caliper. You'll notice this tail has a little bit ground off, and that's so if your part has a significant radius on it, that you can get a measurement around that radius. But if the part has a really big radius, that may not be enough, and you would get an inaccurate reading. You've got to make sure that you're not measuring against a big radius in the bottom of your part. And if you are, you've got this towards the radius, or you can use a different tool like a depth micrometer. So to do this, I'm going to extend the tail so it's longer than the depth, and then I'm going to go until I'm flush and read the caliper. So what reading do you get? I get 2.767 inches. And so that's how you do a depth reading. It's really good to get some parts where you've got known dimensions and practice. Make sure you've got a nice flat surface, and you can even practice depth and step readings using things like a gauge block and going to your known flat surface. And in that case, I got just a thousandth under 1 inch. Now, there are a few accessories that you can get for your caliper. One of them is this piece, which I've been using as a demo piece. If you've got a wider hole, then you can span the caliper across easily, and you don't want to go up against the edge of it for a depth measurement. You can put this attachment on the caliper and then use it to span the hole so you can get a measurement down in the center. Now, this is not the most accurate way to do it. As you see, it can slip if you don't put it on tight enough, but it's a pretty good tool if you just need, again, a rough idea, plus or minus several thousandths, and you can pick them up for not a lot wherever you're getting your machining supplies. Now, you notice a lot of this stuff, actually pretty much everything that I've got on the table is Haas. Now, they're not a sponsor or anything like that. We have Haas machines. We're a member of their tooling program where we get a discount on tools if we buy through them, and they've been fine. They're import tools, but really they've been plenty good for everything we're going to do, and especially for calipers where they're a semi-wear item for us. It's not often that a pair of calipers is going to last more than a year for us because we're using them very frequently. And honestly, sometimes they get knocked off a bench or they get dropped. And when we regularly check the calibration of them, they might not pass. And then we have to replace those. So we keep a few of these on hand, and they're just not that expensive. So this is your call. Go out there, get a set of calipers. Better yet, get a set of analog and digital calipers. Get some parts to measure and see what you like. Practice, practice, practice. It just takes a little bit of practice to get the feel for the caliper and be getting accurate readings quickly every time. Now, if you need something more accurate than a caliper can get, you're probably entering the land of micrometers, but that's a whole nother video. And be sure to subscribe and check out all of our other tutorials because we have this and a lot more.